Hey you witches, how you doing today? Welcome back. My name is Taya, and today I sort of want to talk about the subtleties of witchcraft and spell work. I think it's something we don't really talk about enough in the community, and especially when it comes to like newer practitioners, I feel like sometimes we set sort of this unrealistic idea that your spell work is going to have these big Harry Potter type results. And I guess, let me ask you, have you ever written off a spell? Like, you got results, but you're like, yeah, like, was that the spell? Or was that just like a coincidence? We're looking for these like definitive, indisputable results that can't be written off as coincidence or your mind playing tricks on you. We're looking for those clear-cut Harry Potter results, and you're not going to get them per se. I'm not saying it will never, ever happen, but if that's what you're looking for, you're likely not going to find it. Magic is predominantly subtle, both the act of magic and the results of magic. So I have another video, I'll link it in the description down below about how I think magic works, but basically magic is a subtle act of rearranging the strings of fate, I think. You're just sort of pulling the unlikely thread into the center, into your sort of inevitable path so that it can be picked up and woven into the tapestry of your life. And like I said, I explain it in another video, I'll link it in the description. And just like the act of performing magic is subtle, so too are the results. Part of the overlap of the mundane and the magical is that we need to do the mundane chores to give the magic a pathway to manifest, which then makes it really easy to write off those results and go, oh, well, was that magic or probably just a coincidence? So here's an example. If you do a spell to meet the love of your life, and then you sit at home playing single player video games with no interaction with anybody outside your home for the next 2 weeks, are you going to meet the love of your life? Doesn't matter how strong your magic is if you don't give it a path to manifest. At the very least, play multiplayer online games so you're maybe talking to other players, right? But the chances of your doorbell ringing to the local meter maid who's here to read the gas meter and that being the love of your life is pretty unlikely. So what do you need to do? You need to go out and meet people. Run errands, right? Go to work and engage with people at work, right? Maybe join some meetup groups for singles in your area. And then you finally meet your person at like the singles meetup group. Well, was it the spell? Or was it just because you decided to join a singles meetup group? The spell work is subtle. What the spell work does is it converges all the details for you. The right two people at the right place at the right time to spark that little love connection. It's subtle. Another really popular one that I see online, like I've seen it a lot on Reddit or in like Facebook groups, especially with newer practitioners. They're like, oh, I did a protection spell on my little sister and oh my God, she got hit by a car and she's in the hospital with a broken leg. It didn't work. Oh my gosh, it backfired. She got hit by a car. And I get it, right? It's like, oh, something bad happened. So obviously my spell didn't work. Or did it? Because how often, sadly, are kids, do they die from being hit by a car? I think that's a fairly common occurrence, right? So spell work is subtle. And it can't stop a speeding car dead in its tracks. That's a Harry Potter type move, right? And the car just stops. But what a spell can do is it can bring the driver's attention back to the road and the child in the road a little bit sooner so that they can apply the brakes, and instead of hitting that kid at 60 kilometers an hour, they hit them at 35 kilometers an hour. They can alter maybe the trajectory is after the kid's been hit and they go flying, and they can maybe alter that trajectory a little bit so the kid doesn't land on their neck and end up a quadriplegic. Instead, they land on their leg and they land on their hip and break their femur. The results are subtle. So casting a protection spell doesn't mean that something bad is never, ever, ever going to happen, but the effects of that bad thing maybe won't be as bad as they would have been. So spells are subtle. The results of magic is subtle. So we need to learn to use all of our subtle senses, our intuition, if you will, to judge the results of our spell work. It's never going to be cut and dry, definitive, indisputable. It's never going to be magical like Harry Potter. There's subtle arts that we're working with, and so we need to put our logical X equals Y brain aside when evaluating the results of our magical endeavors. So I'm just wondering, have you ever written off spell results to mundane, it was just a coincidence, that wasn't really I did the spell, but, and I got a result, but it wasn't really magic? I mean, I think we've all done it at some point, especially probably when we were newer. I'm just curious to hear your stories. So give us a share, drop a comment, let us know the time that you maybe wrote off some results. And now that you're farther along your magical path and you've got a little bit more perspective and understand the subtleties a bit better, maybe you can see where there was some magical intervention after all. I'd love to know. Drop us a comment. And otherwise, yeah, that's our video for today on the subtleties of witchcraft. And yeah, if you want to know how I think magic works, check the description below for a link to my Weaving Fates video. All right. Thanks so much, you guys. We'll catch you in the next one.